Okay, now this is going to be a little bit different of a video. Today's date is February 3rd, 2024. I have the documentary film Terror Storm. I checked it out today. There's a reason why we're going to be reviewing this Alex Jones documentary film. I've made a number of other videos discussing why I got inspired to start Outside the Box TV and the role Clyde Lewis, even Coast to Coast, and Alex Jones played in that, because at that time, they questioned certain narratives, specifically Alex Jones. And so I met Alex Jones, I've interviewed Alex Jones, I promoted Alex Jones, I attracted Alex Jones fans to my work. And then I began to explain 10 years ago, before Trump was elected, why I believe that there is a Alex Jones deception, as he went from exposing false flag terror to supporting the official story. There's many things that I would like to share with you, but for those of you that are good souls that have been misled, that still consume this content, I don't think there's a lot of you, because anyone that's still watching Alex Jones is pretty corrupted. It's pretty clear that he's on the dark side, but some of you watched many years ago when it was the old Alex Jones, and you also feel disillusioned. And I'm telling you that in my experience, when you do discuss false flag terror, when you do stand up for innocent people around the world, not just Americans or those labeled patriots, people can do nasty things to you, to harm you, and to damage your reputation, and to stop you from progressing. And one of the things that I've been warning about is this staged, managed World War III scenario. And so there's a lot of information that I have about what's coming with World War III in 2025 that I don't feel is going to come from Alex Jones if he's going to continue to be partisan politics. It's important for people that support Donald Trump, if they are in this world of just blaming immigrants. If Alex Jones was instrumental in helping Donald Trump become the president, they need to know that this is the content. And so if they're going to get upset if people talk about Nazism and false flags and torture in the military, they need to know that these topics were meat and potato topics of InfoWars back in the day. So, and we'll get ready to start playing here in a minute, this is why I speculate that the destruction of the Alex Jones channel inadvertently benefited the new Alex Jones, because his old content of standing up for innocent men, women, and children is no longer available for the public. Do you understand what I'm trying to communicate to you? There's no longer really any evidence on the web of the old Alex Jones doing the right thing. And so the new school Alex Jones fans that are okay with how he's changed, they're not going to know his past, and they're not going to hold him accountable, nor Donald Trump, because average Donald Trump people do not walk around talking about false flag events blamed on the Muslim world. They usually are behind the official story. Do you understand what I'm communicating to you and why at this time? Because we're on the verge of seeing a false flag blamed on Muslims to kick off either a war on Iran or maybe even a re-entry into Afghanistan. And so while Trump is positioned to be the savior, as Biden launches new wars, I would rethink that assessment. There's a reason why you haven't seen others, in my opinion, come up prominently in the 9/11 Truth movement. I would say there's a reason why Alex Jones played a role in the 9/11 Truth movement, which woke me up. And there's a reason why the 9/11 Truth movement today ceases to exist. With that, we will begin Terror Storm. You'll have to forgive me, but here and there, I might become so disgusted from just hearing this voice again that I might just leave the room. So I'm going to be recording the screen, and hopefully the audio is okay. Good enough so you can hear it. I'm sure you can find a free copy of this elsewhere on the internet. But this is some good information, actually, that was in this film. So it's hypocritical for people to get behind a film like this, the message of a film like this, and then act like nothing happened 10 years later, and then begin to catapult another level of propaganda. And with that, we will hit play. Again, subscribe if you like this channel. Support me directly if you want to see my rise. I'm willing to rise, folks, if you're willing to help me. If you're willing to do certain things for me. to volunteer to get my efforts out there because I'm shadow banned severely by AI. I'm talking about you taking some of my most important warnings of the future and interviews and sharing them via DVD in the streets in your community. We'll come back to this in the future. But don't just give Alex Jones your lifetime of support. Give Alex Ansary some support too before he dies. Give Alex Ansary a chance also to wake up the world, because I've been fighting this fight too, folks, and I'm a person that doesn't follow other men. I think for myself, and in my honest opinion to you, that's an asset to the people. The fact that I think for myself and the think that I'm not sold out is not a deficit to you or a negative. It should be seen as a positive.
Our leaders have told us that the war on terror may last 100 years. The new kind of war against a shadowy enemy that can never be defeated.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Either you're with Trump or you're with the left.
Generation after generation.
Right? They want to act like they're so different than what they warned about 10 years ago.
It was a breathtaking display of firepower.
And the Pentagon says
You see? You see?
Perfect specter to convince
He used to care.
relinquish their liberty.
He used to care.
Security.
I still care because I'm a human.
Weapons of mass destruction.
And you should appreciate the humans that refused to relinquish their humanity in the day and age of the machine. Oh, gotta make some tea.
The United States of America will lead a coalition and disarm him in the name of peace.
We've been told that we're facing a 100-year war that will last generation after generation. In this film, we will explore who pulls the strings and who benefits from the dark spectacle of modern warfare. We will answer the question, do the people know how they are controlled?
Hamas is coming across the border. Hamas is coming across the border.
Modern propaganda machines of public relations that wash their brains and fill their minds full of ball games and mindless fluff. Is the population beginning to realize that governments throughout history have used the specter of
See? Even Alex Jones pointed at Hitler as a bad guy back then. Now if you do it, they'll think you're a leftist. You see what I'm saying, folks? I'm trying to awaken you. I'm trying to awaken your consciousness and your psyche. This guy warned about this shit years ago. And people want to act like it's wrong or bad of me to be consistent. I'm consistent. This dude's not.
the pretext for the current geopolitical structure.
Alex Jones sits there and screams, "You are my enemy." You are the enemy of humanity, dude. You are. You're a hypnotist. Just like Clyde Lewis of Portland, Oregon. You're a hypnotist.
Most Americans and Westerners believe the official story of 9/11 to be a fraud. And a large part of that majority believes that 9/11 was an inside job.
Try going to a MAGA rally now and talking about 9/11 with a megaphone. They'll think you're a snowflake. They'll think you're a snowflake.
In this documentary, we will first look at historical events that are not contested. Events where the fact of government-sponsored terror...
Show up at a MAGA rally. Talk about this shit. They'll call you a leftist. They'll say Soros sent you.
There are literally hundreds of examples of government-sponsored terrorism in modern
But you can believe what happened when Trump was running in 2015. You can believe all that official stuff coming out of Europe. You don't have to listen to Alex Jones, the old Alex Jones.
A false flag.
You can look at the new Alex Jones. Yeah. You can see this is compatible with the new Alex Jones content.
Conducted by governments, corporations, or by other organizations which are designed to appear as if they were carried out by other entities. The name is derived from the military concept of flying false colors, that is, flying the flag of a country other than your own. There are many variants of false flag operations, but one of the most popular carried out by governments is to stage a terror attack or horrible criminal incident.
Blamed on guess who? Up there goes Alex Jones blaming Hitler again. Maybe Alex Jones is anti-white. Maybe Alex Jones is anti-white. I know Nazis featured on InfoWars. Are those Nazis featured on InfoWars okay with Alex Jones criticizing Nazis? It's bullshit and hypocritical. This is Alex Jones exposing Nazism.
that Hermann
Is he a
Goering had
leftist?
set
Is he a
fire
snowflake?
to the Reichstag
Here's Alex Jones exposing the Reichstag fire. Fact. Alex Jones used to expose false flag terror. Fact.
Baroness Vanderloo, an extremely mentally handicapped young man who was found rolling around in an alley behind the Reichstag naked. Vanderloo was then taken before a Nazi show trial, found guilty, and sentenced to death. He was beheaded on January 10th, 1934.
Now, Desert Fox, I know you're out there somewhere. It wasn't cool to upload that video of me yelling at Alex Jones, but I was mad 10 years ago. I was mad.
Sights on the world. By March of 1939, Hitler had already seized.
So I gotta be calm and collected, but this guy gets me hot because I see him as the enemy of aspects of our humanity, and I really don't see him as your friend. There he goes again, criticizing Hitler. How do you feel about that? Huh? Feel good about that?
It was Heinrich Himmler who came up with the plan.
Let's listen.
Thus, the operation was codenamed Operation Himmler.
Himmler.
On the night of August 31st, 1939, the Germans took an unknown prisoner.
Alex Jones exposing Nazi Germany. Take one.
Polish uniform, took him to the town of Gleiwitz on the German-Polish border, and then shot him. The stage scene with a dead prisoner dressed in a Polish uniform was supposed to...
People want to look down on people concerned about Nazism. Alex Jones gets a pass.
Newspapers and newsreels were flooded with images of what appeared to be a dead Polish soldier who had dared attack the Reich. Now Hitler had his excuse to invade Poland. And the
people are hating Muslims now.
had begun.
But Andrew Tate gets a pass. Mike Tyson, Muslim, accused of rape, gets interviewed by Alex Jones, yet he's a Muslim. What's the issue there? He's black, not Arab. You understand? He's black, not Arab. This isn't about religion. It is about race. Otherwise, Alex Jones will look down upon Muslim Andrew Tate. Muslim Mike Tyson, but they're black, not Arab. Wake up. Wake up, America. Wake up. He's not a good guy. He's not on your side.
Was pro-America and had driven communist forces out of the north of his country shortly after being elected in 1951. Mossadegh then nationalized the oil fields and denied British Petroleum a monopoly. The CIA's own history department at CIA.gov details how U.S. and British intelligence agents carried out terror attacks and then subsequently blamed them on Mossadegh. In the late 1990s, large sections of Operation Ajax were declassified. The field commander of Operation Ajax was none other than the grandson of President Theodore Roosevelt, Kermit Roosevelt. Before his death,
And yes, folks, we are in a movie theater somewhere out there in Washington, D.C., where I'm going to megaphone one day. That's right, I'm going to megaphone D.C. in 2024.
The provocations included propaganda, demonstrations, bribery, agents of influence, and false flag operations. They bombed the home of a prominent religious leader and blamed it on Mossadegh. They attacked mosques, machine gun crowds, and then handed out thousands of handbills claiming that Mossadegh had done it. The handbills read, "Up with Mossadegh, up with communism, down with Allah." Dr. Mohammed Mossadegh was incarcerated for the duration of his life.
See,
and fared better than many of his ministers who were executed.
People want to act like under Trump this shit doesn't happen anymore. That's fucking crazy, dude. He talked about banning the Muslims for the country. Why wouldn't there be false flags? Why wouldn't there be false flags?
A 5-year reign of terror and torture then commenced. The operation was seen by Western intelligence agencies as a huge success. The CIA then successfully used the exact same technique. You use the exact same technique.
You use the exact same technique. You and Trump use the exact same technique. You and Trump both know the truth about 9/11. And you and Trump are both pushing the spear of the barbarians over the wall as you engineer these events. As you know these events are engineered. As you know what's coming with Hamas in America is engineered because you made this documentary film.
1981, Italian presidents have gone public admitting Operation Gladio targeted innocent civilians and was to be blamed on leftists and communists. On November 22, 1990, the European Parliament had a resolution condemning the activities of Operation Gladio. The former Italian intelligence chief has come clean concerning.
Don't blame me. Blame the library for having this DVD. I'm like, okay, the library has this DVD. I have to check this out. I have to show my peoples.
Our government and other Western governments targeted trains,
Awaken.
buses.
Wake from your trance in the name of Jesus Christ. Wake from your trance in the name of Jesus. Wake from your trance. See the man for what he is. See how he changed. Awaken. There is no danger in awakening to how his narrative has changed. See things as they are in the name of Jesus. Awaken. I command. Awaken from Shaitan's whispering. Awaken. He is not the same person, but biologically he is. I do believe he is the same guy.
Just a small part of this wicked
The Alex Jones is Bill Hicks meme is disinfo to take us away from any tangible meat and potatoes
In the
criticism.
summer of 1964, President Lyndon Baines Johnson needed a pretext to commit the American people to the already expanding covert war.
Yeah, pay attention to this as they blame Iran. Gulf of Tonkin got him into Vietnam.
PT boats attacked an American destroyer off the coast of Vietnam yesterday, and today President...
Come on, McFly. Come on. Take notes. Take notes, McFly. And then go out and educate others. Go out and minister to others. Wake up the world as to what he's doing. Don't just listen to me. Wake people up. And understand what they did to me. What they...
President and then Defense Secretary Robert McNamara, where they openly discussed plans to use the staged Gulf of Tonkin incident as a pretext to expand the war. Then, in late 2005, the National Security Agency declassified its own official history of the Gulf of Tonkin and admitted that intelligence agency officers had deliberately skewed the intelligence and claimed that Vietnamese patrol boats had attacked U.S. destroyers on August 4th, 1964, when in reality they had done nothing, even while being fired on by U.S. forces. Congress then authorized the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. The Tonkin Lie paved the way for 58,000 American deaths and over 1.5 million dead Vietnamese. On October 6, 1976, 2 time bombs made of C-4 planted on a Douglas DC-8 aircraft exploded, killing all 73 people on board in the most deadly act of airline terrorism in the Western Hemisphere until September 11, 2001. The plane was carrying Olympic athletes from 3 countries, including gold medal winners from Cuba. Declassified FBI and CIA documents show that the convicted bombers of the flight had been given U.S. visas just days before the attack, and that they were in the employ of the U.S. government. This had been reported on in respected publications for years, but has now been confirmed by multiple declassifications. Cuban plane bomber was CIA agent. Declassified U.S. government documents show that a man suspected of involvement in the bombing of a Cuban passenger plane worked for the CIA. Luis Posada Carrillos. In the early 1960s, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Ella Lemonster, concocted a plan for false flag operations as a pretext to invade Cuba and for war with the Soviet Union. In Operation Northwoods, they planned to hijack jets by remote control, crash them, and blame the attack on Cuba. There were many other terrorist attacks they planned to carry out that were contained within the document. One scenario was the destruction of a U.S. naval vessel that was to be blamed on a foreign power as a pretext for war with any enemy they picked. President Lyndon Baines Johnson went operational with Northwoods on June 8, 1967 during the Six-Day War. During the Six-Day War between Israel and the Arab nations, the USS Liberty was sent by Johnson to collect electronic intelligence in the eastern Mediterranean. The clearly marked U.S. intelligence ship was 14 miles off the coast of Israel in international waters.
A short time after the air attack had been completed, the 2 torpedo boats approached us from our starboard quarter at high speed and in an apparent torpedo launch attitude.
Israeli surveillance aircraft flew low over the ship and clearly identified it as an American vessel. At 2 p.m. that afternoon, the USS Liberty was attacked by 3 Mirage 3 fighter bombers. From the onset of the attack, the fighter bombers were jamming U.S. signals. Not only were they jamming U.S. signals specifically, they were also unmarked, the only unmarked aircraft in Israel's arsenal. The fighter bombers strafed the ships with their cannons, dropped conventional munitions and napalm on the ship, repeatedly from stem to stern. After the Mirages had done their work, the ship was hit by medium bomber Dassault missiles carrying napalm and other munitions like white phosphorus. The USS Liberty was then attacked by 3 Israeli torpedo boats bearing Israeli flags. The torpedo gunboats opened fire with high-caliber machine guns and launched torpedoes. A single torpedo struck the ship, blowing a hole in both sides, entering the ship and leaving a 30-foot exit hole when it exploded. Then the torpedo boats began strafing life rafts in the water, an international war crime. While all of this was happening, the oversized American flag flew clear above the ship. The attack on the Liberty went on for hour after hour after hour. During the entire attack, the USS Liberty continually called the 6th Fleet that was nearby, begging for air support or rescue. 2 aircraft carriers and the Med responded by launching fighter aircraft. Unbelievably, they were recalled by the White House. Rear Admiral Geist, then commanding the carriers in the 6th Fleet, called Washington personally to confirm the recall order. Secretary of Defense McNamara came on the line, and then President Johnson himself told Geist, "I want that goddamn ship going to the bottom. No help. Recall the wings." Imagine being Admiral Geist begging the president to allow you to defend an American ship that's under attack and being told by him that he wants the ship going to the bottom. Despite the fact that the U.S. carriers withdrew their help, a Russian spy ship appeared and witnessed part of the attack. After 3 hours into the attack, the Israelis withdrew because there were witnesses, allowing the damaged USS Liberty to limp to safety. 40 years after the attack on the USS Liberty, we know exactly what happened. I've interviewed former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Thomas Moore.
Oh, God.
That were on the line who heard what President Johnson said. I've even talked to the head JAG officer.
I've even talked to the devil.
Who was ordered to falsify the reports and cover up what had really happened. One of the Israeli pilots has gone public as well, saying that 3 times he refused over his radio to headquarters to attack the ship, saying clearly that it was an American ship in international waters and an ally. He was ordered under threat of court-martial to engage the ship. In a nutshell, this is what
Blah, blah, blah. Trump! Trump! Lock her up! Alex Jones, before and after. Alex Jones, before and after.
In order to kill all aboard. Then the attack on the ship was...
Lock her up! Bang her in the prison! Bang her in the prison! Hillary for prison! Bang her in the prison!
You know that's what they want. You know Alex wants her in the prison. Like something out of a porno film. Bang her in the prison! How naughty, naughty Trump. Grabbing that coochie. You know, you can grab a coochie and shoot someone on 5th Avenue and people will double their vote for him.
Told not to tell anyone that he had won the award.
Pentagram. Have you seen the rise in these like cop stickers? They're like pentagrams. I'm just wondering. Have you seen that? Like I love my local cop like bootlicker organization with like the pentagram. 7-7.
Prime Minister Tony Blair, leader of the Labour Party, was facing an uphill battle in parliamentary elections. National polls.
Pay attention to the numbers. The 9/11, the 333, all of it. 111, Yemen attack on 111. They're magical numbers that they hijack and use for their satanic, hypnotic go-to-war agendas.
To emerge, indicating Western intelligence agency involvement.
I just don't want to be a spirit and just slap these guys. Just get right behind Obama and just... There goes our Lord and Savior, Alex Jones, to megaphone the UK in 2005
when it was safe to do so because George Bush was the president. And it was okay to be against the wars and against the establishment when Bush was the president. It was okay to call the government corrupt and call out the false flags and call out the Nazis, but because Bush was the president. And then after that, Obama was the president. And then no more. No. 2015 came, 2016, and you were all ordered to change your tune. Now you believe what you're told. Now you fear those people. Now you desecrate Allah and you burn the Quran and you think that's patriotic when that's actually what these people used to tell the truth about 9/11. These little cretins, right? Prison Planet. Yeah, used to post my shit. Wow. These Watson brothers are drinking of the blood of the child, just like Alex. That is one evil SOB, that Paul Watson.
First need to look at 3/11/2004.
There's nothing spiritual about a woman saying she's ascending to 5D and then posting content from Paul Watson. There's nothing 5D about the Paul Watson vibration. When are women in the Western culture going to actually have a spiritual experience? Right? Just let me know in the comments. When? When will it be? 2050, 2060, 2070? When will it be? Where they see through this bullshit and support people like me.
Spanish security services, including the head of their bomb squad. The alleged leader of the bombers, who reportedly gave dynamite to the terrorists, was connected to the Madrid bomb squad. And we see the exact same earmarks. The
3/11. 3/11. That's when Fukushima happened. 3/11.
Madrid.
3 times 11 is 33. Not all 33 references are in Freemasonry.
And a city
Freemasonry's 33 has hijacked the magic of 33.
Military-grade
right?
explosive devices detonated.
In other words, not everything's a conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen.
3 explosive devices.
But the things that are conspiracies, wow. Alex is taking you away from the real conspiracy now, ain't he? Right? Because the false flags now, he's going to say are fucking real. When the concentration camps that he warned about years ago, now he's going to say, hell yeah! Hell yeah! Kick out those fuckers, those damn Muslims. Yeah. Watch Alex in the next couple of years. Watch what happens. Watch what happens in America.
That's what we heard.
And remember my name in a good way.
The underground, so that's when I think everybody knew that it wasn't what it was, you know. I think it was just an excuse, power surge, whatever.
Why would they say that though, knowing it was?
Trying to cover up probably, you know what I mean? So there was no panic and everybody sort of like just get on with everything, you know, so...
Then mysteriously, 15 minutes into the London Police Department...
My reporter's tits pop out of her blouse, live on air, Leanne McAboo. Come on down, stage 7. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Square in Tavistock Place at 9:47. A 4th bomb detonates.
Yeah, where were the hot chicks on InfoWars when he was telling the truth? I said, what? What'd I say? I said, where were the hot chicks on InfoWars before he was telling... I'm sorry, what? Nowhere. Where were the Alex Jones fans that were women when he was telling the truth? I'm sorry, hardly anywhere. Now that Alex Jones lies, now that Alex Jones is full of shit, now he's a fucking living god to people on earth. Enjoy yourselves, America.
30 plus was specifically rerouted here on that day.
To simplify, there's no bus stop here.
There's no number 30 bus stop here now.
Well, that was in the news, that it was specifically diverted here.
They admitted that the number 30 bus was the only bus that was directed to a different area of the city.
Look how different he is before the cretin that he turned into. Watch the old Alex Ansary, then watch the new and improved Alex Ansary. It's still the same Alex, it's still the same content.
The police
just a little bit more gusto these days, that's all. A little bit more testosterone, a little bit more sun, that's all. But I'm still the same Alex. Those guys changed. And their content changed.
The supposed bomber on the
Your brother Ansary didn't change, folks. You don't need to dislike this video. When guys are consistent and they tell you the truth and they think for themselves, that's a good thing. Being a cult member and putting out propaganda and getting in line like some sort of homoerotic like butt party, that's not cool.
The MO, the modus operandi of bombers. They bought 2-way tickets. They played games of cricket the night before. They had good jobs and happy families. One of the alleged bombers was caught by surveillance camera arguing with the ticket clerk about the price of his pass. After Scotland Yard detectives had a chance to talk to some of the eyewitnesses from the bus and the trains, they stated clearly on the record that they believed that the bombers did not know that they had explosives in their backpacks. This was only one of many huge developments in the case that only received bare mentions in the back of the newspaper. The July 29th edition.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some of this commentary.
Revealed the so-called mastermind of 7/7 bombings.
Copyright's going to be an issue with some Hollywood movies, but I've been thinking about commentating over certain clips.
Terror expert John Loftus exposed the fact that a SWAT was being protected by MI6 and was clearly under their control.
A SWAT is believed to be the mastermind of all the bombings in London on the 7/7 and 7/21. This is the guy, we think. This is the guy.
This is the guy.
What's really embarrassing is that the entire British police are out chasing him, and one wing of the British government, MI6, or the British Secret Service, has been hiding him. And this has been a real source of contention.
Top of the pyramid, manipulating both sides, left and right.
MI6 has been hiding him. Are you saying that he has been working for them? Oh, I'm not saying it. This is what the Muslim sheikh said in an interview in a British newspaper back in 2001.
So he's a double agent, or what?
He's a double agent.
So he's working for the Brits to try to give them information about Al-Qaeda, but in reality, he's still an Al-Qaeda operative.
Yeah. The CIA and the Israelis all accused MI6 of letting all these terrorists live in London. Now, we knew about this guy, Aswat. Back in 1999, he came to America. The Justice Department wanted to indict him in Seattle because him and his buddy were trying to set up a terrorist training school in Oregon. The headquarters.
Oregon, those damn Oregon. Jeez.
Prosecutors not to touch Aswat.
Hello. Now, hold on.
Why? And that's, well, apparently Aswat was working for British intelligence. Now, there's a split of opinion within U.S. intelligence. Some people say that the British intelligence fibbed to us. They told us that Aswat was dead. And that's why the New York group dropped the case.
The leftists failed to question the official story of terror attacks, but they're all behind BLM in questioning all the official stories of the cops. But they can't question this shit. They don't question that shit.
Our CIA says, okay, let's arrest him, but the Brits say no again? The Brits say no. Now, at this point...
So, folks, it was all set up for Alex Jones to be the savior, to be the reporter guy, and then to lead everybody astray that didn't have the intuition to get away from him.
He isn't arrested when he leaves. He was always on a watch list. He's on the watch list. The only reason he could get away with that was if he was working for British intelligence. He was a wanted man.
And then takes off the day before the bombings, as I understand it.
Yeah, and goes to Pakistan. He's arrested.
They jail him.
They jail him. He's released within 24 hours.
In London, we spoke with David Shaler, a former MI5 agent who was convicted of breaking.
Yeah, I've heard questionable things about this guy, but whatever.
With regard to 7/7, there's been a witness.
Alex has good info and questionable info, though. Even back in the day, some of the source material wasn't the best.
And somebody who was on one of the tube trains says that he didn't see a man with a rucksack. In fact, after the explosion, what he saw was metal pointing upward from the bottom of the carriage. That would indicate, of course, that the bomb was not carried onto the tube train, but was in fact attached underneath it. Now again, nobody in the British national press is following that up. I hope investigators and the police are.
A current member of British Parliament and a former cabinet minister in Prime Minister Tony Blair's government, Michael Meacher, was sacked in 2003 for raising important questions on the eve of the Iraq War.
Atrocity of London bombings, where 56 people were killed. That was on the 7th of July, 7/7 we call it. It's a very convenient way of ensuring there is fear, of ensuring that there is control, and of ensuring that those who are in the know, and of course we cannot tell you because it is all secret, are in a position of extreme power.
As part of our inquiry into the London bombing, we wanted to investigate the suspicious death of Jean-Charles de Mendes. Within days of his brutal murder at the Stockwell tube station in the London Underground, evidence of a cover-up began to emerge. What did you witness with the unfortunate Brazilian man that died?
All we saw was the police running into the station. We didn't see anything at all.
I'm sorry.
A couple of seconds after that, we were vacated down South Lambeth Road. That's what we saw. We didn't see anything else.
So, are you sad to his family that he's dead?
Oh yeah, but at the end of the day, he should have stopped at surrendered, shouldn't he? If it had happened in his own country, he would have been shot down as well. So, with all that's gone on, the police were only doing what they thought was best, as far as I'm concerned.
Why do you think he ran?
Well, because his visa had run out, obviously. He's not going to have armed police running after him just because his visa's run out, has he? So, the police were protecting, you know, the people travelling on the tubes. I don't see any wrong in what the police have done at all.
I understand your view on that. Why do you think they shot him 8 times in the head?
Oh, I don't know. It's a lot of times to shoot him. It is a lot of times to shoot him.
How many times did you hear they shot him?
5 at first.
Ma'am,
5, and then no 3.
would you like to give me a hand job? My name's Alex Jones.
Did the police admit they tackled him in this shot?
Dislike.
Didn't they? I told him to stop, and he didn't. He carried on running, so, you know. What else could they have done, as far as I'm concerned?
007, huh?
007.
License to kill.
Yeah. I still believe there should be a strict kill policy. I still believe, personally.
He was flirting with her. See, Alex Jones has been divorced since this. He was divorced to Kelly when this was happening.
London police were later forced to admit that Mr. Dominguez never ran from them, wasn't wearing a heavy coat, and that a
He was married to Kelly back then. Anyway, it's all entertaining.
Style with over 10 shots to the head at point-blank range.
I would comment more, but anyway, I'm trying to be quiet.
They went so far as to arrest an ITN television journalist who had simply gotten a copy of what would normally be a public police report. Government whistleblowers and police have also been suspended and arrested for telling the truth. We had our details taken and were threatened with arrest simply for asking questions of locals outside the Stockwell station and videotaping police.
Where are you based?
Austin, Texas.
Alex, what's your name?
21174. Did you just grab us in careful?
No, it's okay.
Oh, here, just let me do it. Take it down.
That's all right.
Alex Jones's birthday and mine are 2 weeks apart.
Exactly. In fact, I think it'll probably be broken into. It'll probably be broken into.
And then Clyde Lewis is February 2. Huh, I don't know. Weird. I have had falling outs with multiple Alexes, including Alex White in Portland, Oregon, who never got a hold of me about getting my stuff back. So I've lost a bunch of stuff that I had in Portland. And then there's an Alex that killed himself in 20. Just beware of the other Alexes. Like, I'm a good Alex, I promise, but beware of some of these other Alexes that run around planet Earth.
The police first claimed that it was a hot morning when official weather reports showed that it was around 60 degrees and that Mr. Dominguez was running down the street wearing a giant padded coat with wires sticking out of it, that he vaulted over the turnstiles, charged through a crowd of pedestrians.
You see that video of the guy like jumped on at the judge? He went super saiyan. Boing!
The authorities then
he had a solar flare in her anyway.
Surveillance cameras malfunctioned that morning. Police have now been forced to admit, thanks to watchdogs in their ranks, that none of the cameras malfunctioned, and they've now released the video. The government has now been forced to admit that he was wearing a light denim jacket, and there were no wires of any type. Police that weren't part of the special military unit didn't know why they killed him. The police had followed him from his home. They knew that he was a Latin Brazilian working in England as an electrician. They followed him for 30 minutes as he walked from his home towards the station. Once in the station, he calmly bought a Metro paper, paid for his ticket with his Metro Oyster card.
Fast forward 2016, Blue Lives Matter, don't question the official story. Cops are gods.
That they were told to get off the train.
That's where we are now, right?
Once they'd stepped off,
but back then,
still
right?
looking through the
A
window,
little bit of investigative journalism was going on.
Police squat on Mr. Dominguez and shoot him over 10 times in the head. Witnesses said Dominguez looked at the authorities as if he knew them. He was like a scared rabbit, and he was killed execution style.
Oh, I'm sure Donald Trump is just a fan of this reporting. And if he is a fan of this and he's not open about it, wow, that's creepy. That's creepy.
Making sure he was dead.
As he pushes propaganda, fear of other people and migrants, worship of cops, while this type of corruption was exposed by his boy, Alex Jones.
He learned a little too much, and he had to be eliminated. We were at the station just a week after he was killed, and many of the facts we've covered were already public knowledge. But still, some of the locals made excuses for the police.
Vlad Lewis is saying, won't talk about racism, but did when it was okay 10 years ago, 14 years ago.
That Benjamin Netanyahu, the former prime minister of Israel, had been warned not to leave his hotel that morning to attend a meeting less than 100 yards away from one of the train stations that was bombed. The Associated Press ran the headline, Netanyahu changed plans due to warning. Then the current Prime Minister, Ariel Sharon's office, instructed Israeli officials not to give interviews to the foreign media concerning the warning. Israel's Foreign Office attempted to spin the story, saying that they'd given a general warning to the British that day. Then several weeks later, the head of Mossad told a major German newspaper that he indeed had issued a warning to Benjamin Netanyahu at 8:40 a.m., 10 minutes before the first blast.
So now he's exposing Netanyahu.
The bus surveillance camera malfunctioned. Something else happened.
But Netanyahu is tied to Trump now. You knew this, right? You knew this, right?
Identification cards survived unscathed at all 4 events. There was just one.
This means he knows
one of the bombers' IDs.
He's deceiving you, and I'm proving it. Unless he has memory loss and you can prove it. And there's a note from a doctor that he has memory loss and he forgot his old contact. You understand? Can you prove that? Can you prove he lost his memory? You know he didn't lose his memory. You know he switched sides. You know that this is more truthful content than his new content.
Check their Minister of Finance.
In 1994, the Israeli embassy in London was bombed. This was at a time when I was in the service. I joined the Middle Eastern section shortly after that, and I was actually astounded.
You need to subscribe to alexansary.substack.com.
Who'd seen all the information coming in about this attack, and he said that he believed that the Israelis had bombed their own embassy.
In any staged terror attack, governments have to be extremely
2006, calling out Israel false flag before it was cool.
Compartmentalized.
Now the left is doing it, and the right is going with the official story. You see how they just kind of flip the script? They just kind of flip the... I'm trying to help you see.
Absolutely essential to keep them in the dark.
Can I get an amen that I'm helping you see? Now, can you go out and minister and help others see if I helped you see? Can you spread the light?
Exact same places as real events. When the Oklahoma City Federal Building was bombed, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms was staging an anti-terror drill with their bomb squad on the morning of April 19, 1995, at the same time that the real event took place. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the Pentagon was running 5 separate drills.
It's crazy, So Trump's down with Israel, and Trump has Nazi friends. Trump has Nazi fans, and Trump is down with Israel. You see what I'm saying?
London was no different.
The circle doesn't fit in, folks, the square peg. The square peg doesn't fit in the circle peg. You see it? It's called hypocrisy. We're being taught hypocrisy. Right? Modern patriots want us to forget this narrative. Modern patriots want us to forget this content ever happened. But guess what? The library had this DVD, so I'm sharing it with you. We're rocking out the Terror Storm.
That are scanning terrorist chatter. You'll be fooled into believing they've simply picked up part of an exercise. On the morning of
Headbanging and moshing a Terror Storm with your host, Alex Ansary, the one and only of planet Earth. Undefeated, title belt holder, the only person of his kind speaking certain truths. There is only one undefeated champion, Alex Ansary.
There was also an anti-terrorist drill going on 7/7. And again, just like 9/11, they were talking about attacks on the same targets, the same pair of tube stations, at exactly the same time as the actual attack happened.
We learned of the drills of 7/7 on 7/7 from Peter Power, the head of Visor Consultants, a crisis management firm based in London. Mr. Power was the former spokesperson for Scotland Yard. Mr. Power told National British Television, ITN News, about the drills.
Today we were running an exercise for a company, bearing in mind I'm now in the private sector, and we sat everybody down in the city, 1,000 people involved in the whole organisation, but the crisis team, and the most peculiar thing was we based our scenario on simultaneous attacks on the London Ground and mainline station. So we had to suddenly switch an exercise from fictional to real. And one of the first things is, get that bureau number when you have a list.
Well, God willing, I'm going to put this video online and people will learn from it.
just to get this right, you were actually...
And they'll be curious about what else I've been discussing, including my interview with Leon about the Chinese invasion. That's right, Chinese-Russian invasion. You heard it here, folks. I discussed it. This man will not. You will not hear anything about a Russian invasion from Alex Jones. He'll warn about China, but not China and Russia. You know it's China and Russia. You know that, right? You know China and Russia both did drills in Alaska, right? So, you know Alex Jones is deliberately dumbing you down if he's telling you Russia's good, but China bad. It's China and Russia that are against the U.S. in what's coming. You know that, right?
Feel for you.
You know that, right? I'm telling you the truth. It's China and Russia. I've been reporting on the war games since 2007. Has he? Has he? I asked you a question. There's a comment section down below. Has he? No, folks, he hasn't. His job is to keep you in the matrix, and I'm trying to help you break out. Will you help me help others? Will you help me help others? Will you share the videos?
And it happened while you were running the exercise. Precisely. And it was about 9:30 this morning. We planned this for a company for obvious reasons. I don't want to reveal their name, but they're listening, they'll know it. We had a room full of crisis managers for the first time they met. And so within 5 minutes, we made a pretty rapid decision. This is the real one. And so we went through the correct drills of activating crisis management procedures to jump from slow time to quick time thinking and so on.
If we use a standard actuary employed by major insurance companies to calculate the probability of these events coinciding in a 10-year mean.
So this time period in which this news was coming out is right when I started the weekly series in Portland. The summer of 2005. I already started in 04, but the weekly series was summer of 05.
That is trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and still more trillions times greater than all the grains of sand in all the world. To put that number in perspective, it has 41 zeros. Scientists using supercomputers have estimated that the Earth...
When this movie was new, Alex Jones did screenings of it at certain theaters in Texas.
Has 18 zeros.
And I met a guy years ago that went there and was shocked.
The emergency services or providing some kind of cover for...
He didn't admit to being a white supremacist, the guy that I knew.
Orchestrated in some way by the state.
But his criticism of Alex was Alex sounding like Hitler at the Terror Storm talk in 06. So he was already unhinged then. He just wasn't pushing certain propaganda then. He took his time to build up trust with us, with me.
As a pretext for political control.
He was serenading me,
Latin for
you, others. Did you start a TV show and promote Alex Jones? So don't dislike me if I'm telling you the truth. You should appreciate people like me that were inspired by Alex Jones to start a TV show. Why would you want a man to follow other men and believe everything that man says? That's not manly. I want manly men that believe in independence to find my work. The rest of you will never be able to be helped.
In the wake of the bombings, Tony Blair's administration descended on the British people.
Hey, this girly man shit is bullshit.
Legislation, attacking the press, freedom of assembly, and setting up the conditions needed for a takeover of the nation through the Civil Contingencies Act. And of course, the bombings took place while world leaders were meeting in Scotland, so Bush and Blair could grandstand and blame the whole thing on Iraq, legitimizing their war. Despite the fact that the G8 World Summit was coming to England on July 7th, the British government lowered the terror threat on the London Underground in early June and conveniently lowered security.
I never really connected that dot until now, but the 7/7/05 bombing occurred right as I was really getting active with OTBTV in Portland. So it was a high energy point. They chose that date and period while I was rising.
The true objective was to ensure that the nation remained in turmoil as a pretext to build permanent military bases, as well as delivering long-term profits to defense contractors.
Defense contractors. Now, buddies of Alex Jones. Alex Jones has ex-Blackwater working for him as staff.
United States, British, and Israeli forces have all been caught repeatedly carrying out staged terror attacks in Iraq in an attempt to keep the war going. In the interest of time, we'll look at just one example.
The devil's biggest trick, fourth biggest trick,
in the British-controlled city of Basra,
is sending people out to expose the devil when really they were working for the devil the whole
killing
time.
one and injuring another. When they were finally subdued and brought into custody, their car was
Agent
filled with
provocateurs
explosives,
pretending to
automatic
be
weapons,
Iraqis,
rocket-propelled grenades,
British,
and other bomb-making
special
materials.
forces soldiers.
Members of Britain's
Very important revelation. Very important revelation. Right there. No, not dislike. Double like, up, and away.
That had been racked by sectarian violence. The governor.
How would you like to live there? How would you like your 14-year-old daughter to live in such an environment?
Within hours of their incarceration, dozens of British tanks and hundreds of soldiers assaulted the main police station in Banja, killing jail guards and police in the process to free the two commandos. Over 150 prisoners escaped, and the controlled mainstream media reported on the incident as if it was no big deal.
That would have been some YouTube video, man. I'm sorry, what's that, Trump?
Could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
Terrorists, I'm sorry, what's that, Trump? MAGA 2024. MAGA 2024. I'm sorry, what's that, Trump?
Saddam Hussein already possesses 2 out of the 3 key components needed to build a nuclear bomb.
In early February of 2006, members of the British government leaked documents that the White House admits are authentic. Known as the White House Memo, it is the minutes of a pre-war meeting between Prime Minister Tony Blair and George Bush in the Oval Office. The minutes contain the discussion of a classic false flying operation where Bush tried to lure Saddam into war using UN aircraft. Mr. Bush told Tony Blair of the extraordinary plan during a meeting in the White House on January 31st, 2003, 6 weeks before the war started, the Times of London reported. The Times reads, President Bush had plans to lure Saddam Hussein into war by flying an aircraft over Iraq painted in UN colors in a hope he would shoot it down. The memo also contained details of President Bush's plan to have defectors claim they had seen weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist.
Well, it is perfectly true that we now know that the evidence, both in the United States and in Britain, which was put before the people, turns out to be wrong. It was known to be wrong. It was fed to Parliament. It was fed to Congress in order to get the necessary support.
But we don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud.
When Congress threatened to block the reauthorization and expansion of the USA Patriot Act in 2006, President Bush announced that he would still enforce the law, even if it was not a law. That, by its definition, is dictatorship.
Right. We all know Trump got rid of the Patriot Act, right? Right? Yeah. We all know Trump got rid of the Patriot Act, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. We all know Trump
to the tune of
was against the vaccines, right?
Yep. The governmental accounting.
We all know Trump brought down the national debt, right?
Every single action by itself was a felony, and there were tens of thousands of instances. President Bush simply said that he was above the law. And it didn't matter if Congress said it was illegal, he was going to continue the practice. When a leader declares themselves above the law, you are living in an official dictatorship.
We have found out from our time in the
But Trump's Jesus, so that's different. Because Rothschild predicted it. He's tied in with James Gillen, Clyde Lewis.
In Britain, it's very easy.
The guy that I worked for at the Portland Preparedness Center, who used me and threw my ass away. Yeah, Rothschild predicted Trump's the Messiah. So Trump could do no wrong. Because he's God. He's God's disciple. He is the return of the king. Dun, 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 dun.
I have no problem, of course, with the services arguing their case in the media. But if they're going to do that, like anybody else, they should declare where they come from. And
he can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue in New York City and not get arrested because he's so cool.
One of the prominent agents of influence, in fact, two.
I heard about it from Rothschild. He's coming to bring us into a new golden age of enlightenment and monster orgasms like nothing you've ever seen in your life. Monster libidos from the Tramp.
Because he's working to an MI6.
Trump Tramp reign of 2025 to 2028.
Secret arrest, secret detention, and torture was illegal. He simply had his Attorney General, Alberto Gonzales, issuing a policy paper claiming that it was lawful. Known as the infamous torture memos, Gonzales said they would simply stop calling
old Alex Jones, torture bad.
Pressure.
New Alex Jones,
died in custody.
Don't talk about it.
Torture, that was acceptable. But White House counsel John Yoo went even further.
Okay, it's my new quote, folks. You want to blame me? Blame Alex Jones. He's the one that started talking about this stuff, right? Bring it up with him. Send him emails. Hey, Alex Jones, why were you talking about Nazis 10 years ago? Why were you talking about false flags 10 years ago?
That haven't even passed the Congress. President Bush was also caught engaging in warrantless searches using the National Security Agency to spy on the American people. Bush claimed
he benefits from his old films not being shown to the masses anymore. You understand? Because they're too dumb to look for this. They're too dumb to look for this. They're going to believe the terror storm that's coming. They're going to believe the terror storm that's coming.
A branch of the Pentagon to spy on peaceful anti-war activists. He again claimed that he was above the law.
Now it's bad to spy on anti-war activists. Now it's bad to spy on anti-war activists. But sometimes it's good when our guy's in office. Yeah. They call it terrorists and shit. Yeah, they protest. Yeah. Not that Antifa are angels. They're seriously mentally ill fucks.
He chastised a reporter who claimed that you needed probable cause to search someone. He said all that was needed was that it be, quote, reasonable, and the government would decide what was reasonable.
My understanding is that the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution specifies that you must have probable cause to be able to do a search that does not violate an American's right against unlawful searches and seizures.
Actually, the Fourth Amendment actually protects all of us against unreasonable search and seizure.
But
that's what it says.
The measure is probable cause, I believe.
The amendment says unreasonable search and seizure.
But does it not say probable?
No.
The court standard, the legal standard,
search and seizure.
the legal standard is probable cause. General, you used the terms just a few minutes ago. We reasonably believe.
And so under the guise of fighting Antifa, would the future Trump administration just go after critics using surveillance and other things? Yes or no? You know the answer. You know the answer. And don't act like you don't know the answer, because you know the answer, don't you?
People believe, and I'd like you to respond.
That's right.
Is that what you've actually done is crafted
in the same way that they use some people to go after the Patriots, they'll use the actions of some Antifa to go after Trump critics. You understand? Can you follow my logic? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Okay. Hypocrisy is of the devil. Overcome it every single day of your life and go deeper and deeper into your healing in this hypocritical world. Hypocrisy sucks, folks. It sucks. It's totally ungodly.
I will now read the Fourth Amendment in its entirety. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Notice the Fourth Amendment clearly states no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, and that must be supported by an oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That is the definition of reasonable. Reasonable is having a witness and having probable cause, and specifically knowing what has been done that is wrong and against the law that you're searching for. Not just, oh, we say we're being reasonable. The National Security Agency director clearly knew what he was doing. He knows that 99% of Americans have no idea what the Fourth Amendment actually says. So he claims that it's okay for them to spy on us without a warrant, counting on us being ignorant. That ignorance needs to end. Or maybe he's looking at a Fourth Amendment that the rest of us haven't seen. Several years into the occupation of Iraq, President Bush told the world that they had freedom of the press. Now it's been revealed that if you write one story critical of the occupational government, you're instantly arrested and sentenced on average to 30 years in prison. In some cases, reporters are simply executed or tortured. Then it came out that the Pentagon was covertly controlling almost every major newspaper in Iraq, and that PR firms were writing most of the stories in the United States. But it's not just going on in Iraq. Billions and billions of dollars a year are spent paying off reporters, planting fake news stories, and producing fake newscasts. The military calls this info wars, seizing the mind of the enemy. And they are treating the American people like an enemy. When you learn that the Pentagon, the CIA, and the White House are openly engaging in military-style propaganda against the American people, Then you begin to realize why large portions of the American
He's describing his future self. He's describing what he'll morph into.
Yes, David Shaler about MI5 and MI6.
Some speculate they put it right in plain sight in movies. Is Alex Jones doing the same thing that movies do?
Confronted Al Qaeda.
Is he admitting what he is before he does it?
Once I'd become briefed on a plot in which MI6 was funding our terrorist enemies without government permission, I no longer wanted to be part of that setup.
We also spoke with former MI5 agent Annie Mushan, herself a whistleblower, exposing MI5 and MI6 wrongdoing.
I went public in conjunction with my partner because we'd seen so many dreadful things going on, and we believe that the British public deserves better protection.
My own, not so much government, but intelligence services were carrying out operations in which innocent Libyans died.
David was briefed officially by MI6 officers on their attempt to assassinate Gaddafi by funding Al Qaeda in Libya.
So I felt the need to say something about that. It took a long time to have the courage to be able to do that. But eventually I decided that was the only way forward.
3 days' notice because the newspaper suddenly decided to kick into action.
I lived in exile for 3 years. In fact, when I actually tried to use a legal route to alert the British government about MI6 funding Al Qaeda, I was the one thrown in prison.
We then tried to negotiate with the government. We tried to say, please take our evidence about the crimes we've seen. The government refused then, and to this day, 8 years on, they are still refusing to take David's evidence and my evidence about crimes committed by our intelligence agencies.
We have sources who told the press, sources in America from the State Department and the CIA have confirmed that payments were made to a group in Libya that was associated with Osama bin Laden. A document actually appeared on the internet which predates the attack and describes exactly the modus operandi, the way of carrying out the attack, the timing of the attack, the people involved, the Islamic extremists and so on, that I described when I went on the record. As a result of the attacks on 7/7, the British people seem much more complacent and will allow the state to infringe their liberties in a way that they wouldn't allow them to do otherwise.
While in London, I learned that Parliament had just passed a law that would ban any type of free speech within several miles around the British Parliament building.
Blair's approval ratings go up when there is an event. Bush's approval ratings go up when there's an event. What, quote, Muslim extremists in their right mind would carry out an operation that would empower the New World Order, globalism?
Pete Santilli megaphoned Alex Jones in Austin, Texas. Now they're friends, right? I told you Pete Santilli was shady. Pete Santilli bullhorned Alex Jones. Now they're friends. Seriously, check it out. Not legitimate activism. Not legitimate.
Find out who has the motive to scare you into submission, to intimidate you, to bully you, and to accepting their wars of global war and empire and genocide.
At a time like this, I think we were prepared to give up a little bit of liberty, aren't they?
I megaphone Clyde Lewis, and he'll do it again because he spit on the graves of the victims of war at a 9/11 event in 2010.
I think we should be just a bit clever on what we've allowed here.
I care
I think we've been too
about the people murdered
too soft.
after the false flag terror. I'm a human. Do they care?
A lot of demonstrations.
Does Alex care? Does Alex's current listeners, does the MAGA base care about the refugees? The innocent humans whose lives have been destroyed by their fucking wars.
With what their governments are doing.
No, the MAGA crowd doesn't care. They hate those people. They're all terrorists to those people. Nobody's innocent to those people overseas. Okay? They don't take accountability for the lands they've destroyed, for the people they have dehumanized. And Alex Jones and now David Icke, along with Donald Trump, have dehumanized these people.
I must say, one of the things that does concern me...
And I'm showing you he used to expose this. And this content is not on Band.video now, is it?
Faces the parliamentary buildings.
You can still buy his films.
The large iron gates.
They are still available.
Ministers come in and MPs go in and out.
I think.
It may be ignored. He may be...
But he's not talking this way.
He may be mocked, but at least he is able to.
The narrative is now 180. There isn't an explanation why the narrative went 180. It just went 180. And the people went 180. But if we turn back the tail of time, if I can turn back time, then this is what I see. He's talking to an anti-war homeless looking guy.
6 times they've taken me to court.
He's a famous protester.
By the way, we took Mr. Charles Clark, the Home Secretary.
I've exposed Chertoff. I've confronted Chertoff in Portland, Oregon.
I was the complainant, they were the defendant.
I'm the guy in Portland, Oregon that exposed the martial law Homeland Security terror drills in Portland, Oregon. Did Alex expose Top Off 4? Jones, that is. No. Ansary exposed Top Off 4 in Portland, Oregon. A topic Clyde Lewis of Portland, Oregon won't touch
and which could be heard
with a 100-foot pole.
In the confines of Parliament. I find that very worrying.
I bullhorned Parliament 3 days before the law went into effect.
I've sucked Satan's cock, and it tasted really juicy. If you're not going to get down and serve the master, we're going to call you a libtard. We're going to say you work for Soros. We're going to say you're with the jihadis. If you're not going to get with us, you're with the libtard New World Order. You are my enemy. You are my enemy. You leftist libtard. You are my enemy. Portland, Oregon, you are my enemy.
This local activist bullhorning Parliament, and the local police didn't have a problem with that. But as soon as I got on the bullhorn and began talking about pertinent issues, they became very upset and enrolled me into some type of troublemaker database.
You fucking bastard. Listen. I took off a picture off my Outside the Box TV Facebook page that showed me megaphoning in Portland, fucking Oregon. Okay, I did that because I didn't want people to confuse me with Antifa. I'm megaphoning 9/11 Truth in Portland, Oregon. Now people hate protesters, but I was inspired by that fucking dude. That fucking dude because of that fucking day. I'm not Antifa. So modern day Trump supporters don't give a shit about old school Alex Jones. Fans or other speakers like his old school self. They don't really like the old school Alex Jones. They don't really like the authentic Alex Ansary. They like copycat men, and they think they're masculine, but they come across as homoerotic. All these men thinking the same thing, bumping to the same tune. It's just gross. Men should be men and think for themselves. Men should not pressure other men to worship other men. Men should not say if you don't like Alex Jones, you're a snowflake. Men should not say that if you don't like Donald Trump, you're a bad person, you're a snowflake. That's crazy. That's what a cult member does. And nobody's going to apologize. That's how sick this society is. Nobody on the left that worshipped Obama has ever apologized to me. And nobody that worships Trump has ever apologized to me. And both Trump and both Obama have expanded the wars. So all of you that have voted for these people are all responsible for this genocide. Even those that voted for Biden. Wake up now. Biden is killing people in Gaza. Are you awake yet? Are you awake yet? Nobody in 2024 is on your side. Nobody in 2024 is on your side.
All of these guidelines have been produced by the federal government and distributed at the state level.
And now, Trump does the same shit to Portlanders. And now, see, if you people can't even back me up, and you're in Portland, Oregon, and you're watching this, I want to know if you have a soul. I want to know if you're watching this in Portland, Oregon, and you can't even help me and connect with me, if you even have a soul. I was your brother from another mother in Portland, Oregon.
Texas, and joined me live on my radio broadcast.
This shit is propaganda.
We are joined in the studio by Steve Watson and Paul Watson.
It's propaganda in the sense that they pulled you in with truth.
7 days. How have you liked it?
That seemed grassroots, his old studio.
Obviously, it's all Western culture.
That's the old Alex Jones studio. At the old location before
What was it like to have the police march up
what he moved into.
and tell you to turn your camera off?
Look how different those young men are from what they turned into.
Well, I mean,
they seem so innocent. Look at Paul Watson now. Look at Paul Watson now. He doesn't come across as an innocent little child of God. He looks like little Damien. And so does everybody else who watches and supports him.
Basically, were apathetic to the attack. They just got on with their lives. They weren't really buying the complete propaganda on it.
We had case after case where we'd be out on the street doing interviews interviews with people, and we'd be showing the video cameras, and there were people working right there at the Hard Rock Cafe. And I'm like, look at these cameras. They're everywhere. They're in plain view. And the manager comes out and goes, you know, thanks for showing me that. I've never noticed those. What's your name, sir? Charlie. I'm Alex. That's Mr. Charlie. Good. What do you think of the new symbol of the United Kingdom? It's going to switch from the Union Jack to the black surveillance camera.
Well, you know, there's plenty going on in London, so they need the surveillance cameras everywhere.
But I mean, it's going to be the new national symbol. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, but really, it has become the national symbol. 4+ million surveillance cameras in the great city of London alone.
You say that. Well, I'm happy to see them then.
You don't see them, they don't exist?
No, you didn't see them. That's the first time I've even noticed they're there. I've been working.
Listen. A Trump supporter that doesn't see Trump's role in the New World Order is as dumb as this dumb fuck.
You seem like
right? These MAGA people, Trump ain't part of the New World Order. Trump ain't blah, blah, blah. They're just like this. They're just like this. It's all the same system, dumb fucks. None of them give a fuck about you. And there's a special stupid group of you that smoke pot that like to live off grid that like Trump. Trump ain't done shit to support your pot or off grid. I have. Yet you diss me? Yet you diss me or not support me. Yet I support your pot. I support you living off grid. Trump does not. This dude does not. They don't support legal marijuana.
A quote from Orwell from 1984. Doublethink is an unending series of victories over your own memory, reality control. To know and not to know, to be conscious of complete truthfulness while telling carefully constructed lies, to hold simultaneously two opinions which cancelled out knowing them to be completely contradictory and believing in both of them, to use logic against logic to repudiate morality while laying claim to it. And this is exactly what we saw over and over again in London.
Do you realize those of you that abandoned me 6 years ago that are just now coming back, those of you that abandoned me 10 years ago, how far I would have been right now if you would have supported me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when I bucked the system then and was called crazy? Do you realize how further along I would be if people supported me 1/1000th of what they did to support Alex Jones or David Icke or somebody else?
You ever wonder who's really behind it?
Well, I've heard there's people who think that the governments behind it. You know, British governments, American governments, people have said that.
Oh, really? You heard that some people think it's the government?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just so sure the MAGA crowd's going to think it's the government when Trump's in office and there's false flags blamed on Muslims. Either whether it's Biden in office or Trump. But if it's Trump in office, they won't say it's a false flag. They will say it's real. And they might call for camps.
Yeah,
concentration camps, mass deportation. They might call it a deport the Muslims.
She's been interviewed on the BBC. I'd seen her on there, so we went over to interview her.
Trump said if you're supporting Hamas and you're an immigrant, you're out of the pool. You're out.
And she came back with, yes, I'll sacrifice liberty for freedom.
Yet many people question October 7th, 2023.
Liberty and freedom are the same thing. We then asked her again to clarify, just in case she made a mistake, and she said the same thing again. She was willing to give up liberty for freedom, which is really
Steve Watson,
because
Paul Joseph
the
Watson.
two things mean the same thing.
Manchurian candidates in their own way.
Crawford, Texas, outside Bush's ranch that we witnessed in England. Populations who are willfully ignorant, who revel in being
willfully
well, we're on our way out
ignorant, because we all know the Obama supporters and the Trump supporters and the Biden supporters aren't willfully ignorant, right? They're not willfully ignorant, are they? No.
Well, he admittedly is afraid of horses and the cows and many other forms of wildlife. And of course, he was born in Kennebunkport, Maine, and spent most of his life there. He likes to put on a cowboy hat and a big belt buckle and strut around. He meets with all these different world leaders and decides to basically how to carve up the world. He meets with Saudi leaders and holds hands with them. He meets with Ariel Sharon.
They just showed you Putin and Bush.
He meets with leaders from all over the world, but he certainly doesn't meet with the mothers of dead soldiers.
They just showed you Bush and Putin. Okay? It's not just Trump, and it has been going on for multiple administrations, including Obama, right? The Russian-U.S. partnership in the destruction of the Middle East, this partnership, this silence from Russia, when
U.S. went into Afghanistan. They didn't expose the 9/11 inside job in reality. Fuck Russia today, RT. That's just propaganda for the masses. Russia is not against what the U.S. is doing. They're all in on it. And the old Alex Jones told you a lot more truth than the current one.
Where do you think we're coming from, though, sir? I mean, tell me.
A lot of you are trying to connect this we're in bed with Saudi Arabia BS, and this is all a big farce to get Saudi oil and all that. That's not what it's about.
So our government, they didn't know what's Saudi. Okay.
While in Crawford, we ran into Ray McGovern and spoke with him about Iraq. Ray McGovern is a retired, senior-level CIA analyst whose career spanned the administrations of John F. Kennedy to George H.W. Bush. His duties included chairing national intelligence estimates and preparing the president's daily brief.
I believe that they are still interested in permanent military bases there. I believe they are still interested in controlling the oil from that part of the world. And so it will be stay the course. It will be 6, 7, 8 U.S. troops killed every day or every week. And what's below the surface here was revealed to me by a very well-heeled gentleman who came up to me after a speech I made outside of Milwaukee in a very affluent suburb. He said, "Mr. McGovern, get real. I mean, what's your problem?" He said, you don't have any problem with, you don't deny that we need the oil, do you? And I said, no. He said, well, 6, 7, 8, 10 Marines a week for the oil. You have to admit that's a very, very cheap price for the oil. I said to him, how do I handle this? I said, well, the utilitarian argument is probably the best. I object to it, said I just we can't do it. There are 1.3 billion Muslims in this world. They're not going to let us do it.
It's already widening.
The borders are porous. We can't do it. Well, that didn't convince him. He said, well, I think we can do it. I said, oh, well, suppose your son was one of those 6 killed in Iraq last week. And you know what? He looked at me like he had never
So check this out. I'm trying to awaken you folks. I'm trying to awaken you folks. Again, I'm trying to awaken you folks. You should thank me, not curse me. So how many conspiracy theorists do you know that warned about the, quote, depopulation agenda and have for years, okay? Mark that number in your mind. Now, answer me this. With 1.3 billion Muslims now be made the enemy of the West, as people call for the Middle East to be nuked. For years, people wanted Afghanistan to be nuked. Now Nikki Haley and others call for atrocities on Palestine. So ultimately, you do have a depopulation agenda coming out of the far right. And yet so many people act like they were above the Georgia Guidestones, projecting onto the elite. The elite are this, the elite are that. You are seeing aspects right now from some of these people, the New World Order, Illuminati, consciousness, channeling through them.
The construction that I saw wasn't with the Iraqis, it was with the American bases they were building. Concrete structure is incredibly permanent, designed to house thousands of soldiers for a long period of time.
The American people are being kept in the dark about all this. If it weren't for shows like yours and for a few others and the internet, people would never have a chance to learn the truth of this. What Cindy Sheehan has,
a lot of people over time,
a human dimension.
A lot of people over time developed deep relationships with Alex Jones. Went on his show for years, gave him the time of day. Do you think Ray McGovern or some of these other people are on board right now? Some of the narratives. Look at all the people that helped Alex Jones get to where he is today.
We don't know what's going on.
Look at Alan Watt, who's now dead. How many times he won the Alex Jones show? He didn't like where Alex Jones ended up.
And that doesn't mean that they need to be involved in the decisions, because I know better than that.
Look at how many times he demonizes Islam, but he's cool with Mike Tyson being a Muslim because Tyson hits hard. What does that say about society? If you beat people up, if you're black and you hit hard, it's okay to be Muslim. But if you're a peaceful Middle Eastern guy who's not even Muslim, you'll still be discriminated against and treated like a muzzy. A muzzy. Don't act like I don't know what it's been like being in my own fucking body for almost 44 years because of people like this. If you were in my shoes, you would be justified in your rage.
at what this propaganda has done to your fucking life. So don't act like you know what it's like for 1 second to be in my shoes, from the fires of hell that they have brought to earth. And don't act like even people like this give a fuck about me, or white women in Portland, Oregon that were in the anti-war movement years ago. They don't care about Alex Ansary. They care about Joe Biden. They care about Black Lives Matter. They care about feeding some of the homeless, but not when Alex Ansary was homeless. To them, I was nothing and continue to be nothing, because if I was something more than nothing to them, I would hear from them. There's no man in Portland, Oregon right now doing more than me to warn Portland about what is to be. With the far right, with Russia calling for Portland to be nuked, right? I have told the truth, and I gave Portland everything. And in the end, the people that helped me the most were not Portlanders, were people that found me on the internet. Okay, so people that think that they're super conscious and progressive in Portland, Oregon are full of fucking shit. At the same time, I will still defend you from people like Alex Jones and their attack on Portland and Fox News' attack on Portland. But the Antifa actions there are totally unconscious and are totally satanic, okay? Because they don't recognize people of color in their struggle. Unless they're black or Latino, they don't care about other people. They say land back for these groups. Does that mean all the immigrants should go back? Louise in Antifa, right? There's even an anti-immigrant sentiment in some cases from Antifa, right? You want to look at white supremacy? Look in the mirror, Portland, Oregon. We'll go back to the video, because yes, I want to see this air what I'm saying on Access TV, and I want to hear from those people that are watching this on Access TV. Okay?
America's defenses is a revolutionary change.
I mean, it is fucking bullshit, Portland, for Trump supporters to say they like me and Trump when there's nothing in common between me and Trump. I was talking about Trump when he was engaged in fake-ass news about Obama being a fucking foreigner. Excuse my French. I exposed the truth about Obama expanding the wars after that day, and even told Sam Adams, former mayor of Portland, Oregon, that the exercises in Portland, Oregon, the black helicopters, the Top Off 4, that's all capitalizing off of the fear of 9/11 to enslave even Portlanders and Americans in the event of martial law if there are terror attacks.
Are you kidding me? Do you buy that?
Those are the coming lockdowns.
Of course there were mass. Of course there were.
There's plenty of leftists like this in Portland that believe Bush's lies. There's plenty of leftists in Portland, Oregon that believe Bush's lies about 9/11. Do you realize that?
Does that still mean that if he had the capability, would he still see that's in the mind?
Well, she's got an ad on TV. It said, he lied, and my son died. You know, he didn't lie to nobody. What did George Bush lie about?
He said he was going to protect his country.
Instructions that.
Somebody said something to me once that they listened to Clyde Lewis to keep themselves sanity, to keep themselves sane. No. You are not sane if you're listening to Clyde Lewis and Alex Jones. You are not sane, you are not getting saner, and no wonder people like you and others broke my heart years ago. If you're listening to people like Alex Jones and Clyde Lewis and sucking off the cock of Donald Trump, no wonder why you forgot about me years ago and saw me as a lesser than, someone not worthy of being helped, when I gave you everything. I'm the only dude in the conspiracy movement that has warned you of the Russian threat to the U.S. and the potential planned invasion of America, and how Russia might even be sending in human traffickers along with China, maybe work with cartel members, and maybe seizing upon the crises in Portland, targeting the women in Portland, manufacturing rage against Portland by design for the one day in which America collapses and places like Portland see human traffickers kidnapping women. All that would come after years and years and years and years. Follow me now. Years and years and years and years of Trump demonizing Portland, Fox News demonizing Portland, and then Antifa demonizing Portland by acting like they represent Portland and harming innocent Portlanders that are just simply trying to film their actions, right? There is just a great, great evil upon the city of Portland, and I can't save it. I can't help it. I can't even get the people of Portland, Oregon to communicate with me. But I told you they did terror drills in Portland, Oregon, and because I learned from the old Alex Jones, which was somewhat of a good Alex Jones, I got the word out.
because this guy did the right thing early on. And he changed, whether he was evil from the beginning, or whether he got the money later, or whether he shape-shifted into evil, or whether evil walked into his body like an evil walk-in, like an Archon reptilian possession. I'm not sure how it happened, but folks, it happened. And the evil influence that he
attack nuclear facilities in Iran.
releases influences those that listen.
Absolutely crazy.
So if those listening to Alex Jones are listening to this, they typically clash with my ideas and let me know it periodically. A little less now than years ago, because I'm not putting up with that bullshit anymore. No more Mr. Nice Guy. If you want to learn what's going on with the New World Order, keep listening to me. If you want to be in a hypnotic left-right trance and be led over a cliff and be afraid of every non-white person that comes around the corner that you fear is a migrant coming to commit terror attacks against you, then keep listening to new fucking Alex Jones, who sucks Satan's cock, right? So you need to see this old material where he used to be aware and admit this truth. So Alex knows what he's doing is wrong. He's not having a bad day. He didn't get up on the wrong side of the bed. What Alex Jones is actually doing, he is doing knowingly. He was knowingly deceiving you. You would have to literally write me an essay paper how he's not knowingly deceiving you. And he has memory loss and some mental health problems in which he takes medication for. You would need to show me the script. You would need to show me the medical notes. You would actually have to prove to me that Alex Jones has a mental illness. But because you can't do that, you can't prove that he has a mental illness, meaning Alex Jones is fully aware that he's deceiving you and that he's taken your awareness away from the government staging false flags, and he's now going to tell you that it's all real and that these people need to be deported in the future.
Let freedom ring. We decided to cap off our day in Crawford by traveling down the public highway to where the Secret Service had blocked off the public road 2 miles before the entrance to Bush's ranch. We were promptly told, as if America is now a third world police state, to get out of there, despite the fact that we were credentialed press.
You need to get back to your car and continue.
Really? Oh, we're off the road. Okay. What is it over here? Oh, but the barricades are here.
So let me get this straight. You believe that the U.S. government crashed those airplanes into the World Trade?
Yes, the evidence shows it.
You're full of Take on that.
The whole point about 9/11 is that it gave a pretext for a preconceived plan. That plan is in the PNAC document, which precedes 9/11.
So Israel influenced this, and you can say the same thing about October 7th now, 2023, and what's going on in Gaza.
In my opinion,
which is a really high kill rate over there, nearly 100,000 dead.
Supposedly contained terrorists, but did not take off that day.
Did Alex Jones ever cry for those children? Right? He cries for the children. Has he cried for those children? People say they're going to save the children in QAnon. Are they trying to save the children? Are they trying to save the children?
Questions on all of this. The reason they're unanswered is because this president, this administration will not answer the questions.
Why is it that perhaps the biggest question of all, why is it that after, on 9/11, 8:20 a.m., when it was undoubtedly, without any question, one of those planes had been hijacked, between 8:20 and 9:38, when the Pentagon was hit, an hour and 20 minutes, no
9:38, 9/11
was put
3 and 8,
There
11.
were drills on the day of 9/11, which the American Defense Force was supposed to be dealing with mock hijackings. Obviously, those would have slowed down the response of national defense to the hijacked airliners. If American passenger jets go off course and they are tackled by American fighter jets, the default position is to shoot them down. And yet, in this case, of course, none of that happened.
There was the Andrew Air Force Base, 10 miles from Washington. It has a squadron of F-16 fighters. None of those was put into the air. This is absolutely almost incredible. The most powerful military technological country in the world, albeit under a terrifying attack, was not able to put planes into the air, which actually could probably have stopped at least the second and third hits.
And we've got to ask why George Bush sat there with a group of school children for 16 minutes after he'd been alerted to a plane going into the second tower.
The president's in Sarasota. He's told that the second plane has hit the World Trade Center.
AMTV and Alex Jones and others try to portray Donald Trump
30 minutes, folks.
as a 9/11 truther. For years, conspiracy theorists were led to believe that Donald Trump endorsed this content. Do you understand me?
30 minutes. Why was he countermanded?
The implication, of course, is he knew exactly what was going on, but he knew that he wasn't.
You have no evidence at all that Donald Trump supports this narrative. Show it to me. Show it to me. If you can't show me evidence that Donald fucking Trump, MAGA 2024, supports this content from the guy that made him the president along with others,
It is a massive.
then you have no evidence that you can trust them. You don't just go and expose false flag terror, flip the script and say those that then are going to continue to expose false flag terror are leftist libtards, snowflake Democrats. Folks, if you think Democrats and Biden and Antifa folks are into 9/11 truth, you are a dumb person and you need help. They hate that shit. Do you know that? They hate that shit. They hate that shit. Have you ever seen my 9/11 report? My report. And the people that I've interviewed. Look in the comments. Look in the comments. Look in the comments. I've been in the trenches. I've taken the risk. I am of the ethnic makeup that has been blamed for 9/11, even though my mom is white. Even though my mom is white. Doesn't matter. I don't look white enough. I look suspect and foreign enough to live in this fucking hellhole of a world in which people are afraid Hamas is now going to attack. They ain't warning about this shit. They ain't talking about 7/7. They ain't talking about 9/11, right? And I think the government, by the way, might even be running the Facebook 9/11 groups. I can't even get in.
In about July, and there were later.
It's very, very controlled in these 9/11 Facebook groups, what you talk about.
US, officials made absolutely clear to the Taliban representatives in this famous phrase, either we will provide you with a carpet of gold, in other words, if you supply a pipeline across Afghanistan, you ensure the security of the country, you guard that pipeline, then we can do a deal with you, otherwise we will bury you in a carpet of bombs.
In the years since 9/11, scores of highly regarded individuals have gone public to express their serious doubts about 9/11. These include former presidential advisor and CIA analyst Ray McGovern.
Can you show me?
The father of Reaganomics and former.
Can you show me a speech about 9/11 from Trump? I said, can you show me a speech about 9/11 from Trump?
Minister Andres von Bulow.
Did you hear the question?
Officer David Shingler.
Do you need subtitles?
Member Michael Meacham.
Can you show me a speech from Donald Trump about 9/11?
First term, Dr. Morgan.
Awake in the name of Jesus. Demons be gone out of your head. Demons be gone out of your head. I said, can you show me Donald Trump exposing 9/11? Because this is boy exposing 9/11. Again, demons out of your head. Satan be gone. Wake up. Trump is not on your side. Alex Jones is not on your side.
Inside job. It's a self-inflicted wound. It's a government false flag. Terror operation. Research it. More people are waking up every single day. More people realize what the stakes are. They love their families. And
If I was you, I would take his voice and play it at a MAGA rally. Play his voice through a megaphone, or pick me up and fly me down to your city and put me in a hotel when there's civil unrest in 2024. If you got the money, honey, and hire me to be the megaphone. Hire me to tell the truth in Portland, Oregon. Hire me in Washington, D.C. Bring me to New York if you're watching from there and you have the finances and you want to see me rock your town. I'm not guaranteeing I'm just going to go anywhere. Maybe. We'll have to negotiate. But I am alive when the sun becomes alive. Soar Maximum 2024, 2025. And that means that I am alive with the sun. You understand? Like a fish coming up from the ground. with the dead rising, like some sort of, horror film. I am rising as the sun rises. And I am tired of this crap. I'm tired of the trance. I'm tired of 9/11 truthers supporting Donald Trump when he represents the 9/11 deception, when he represents blaming all Muslims for the 9/11 event. Okay?
Away at the underbelly of America. And we aren't going to solve our problems by ignoring 9/11. The biggest smoking gun then and now is WTC-7. How can anyone watch it without some kind of a psyop or verbiage accompanying it and not look at that and say, hey, that building was just demolished, just the way the Las Vegas Sands was, or the Seattle Stadium, etc. Just there's no way around that. Here we are in so-called broad daylight. It's 5:20 p.m. and we've got cameras on it. And what other explanation can there be for this very conventional-looking collapse with under 7 seconds? There's just has crime, inside job written all over it. We need real convictions. We need arrests. We need prosecutions.
I'm sure Trump's going to get right on that. Trump's going to get right on that 9/11 investigation. Yeah, I just read it the other day on AMTV. Yep, Trump 2024. He's going to reopen the 9/11 investigation. Yep.
The main pillars in the World Trade Center towers.
There is this molten metal.
Trump's going to be playing Terror Storm, ladies and gentlemen, at Mar-a-Lago. I just read about it on True Social. Did you get that memo on your smartphone? Yeah, Trump's going to be playing Terror Storm, everybody, at Mar-a-Lago. Woo! It's going to be playing on Fox News too. Yeah, they're going to play this. Yeah, absolutely. I'm obviously fucking with you, but guess what? I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it for cable TV in Portland, Oregon. Now on Xfinity, formerly known as Comcast.
You see this white ash.
In 2002, I woke up to the truth about this day because of Jones. Then I became an Access TV host in Portland, friggin' Oregon, for over 15 years. For years, I was the only guy speaking truth in Portland, Oregon, before Clyde Lewis was on the air. Now, I've been pushed into obscurity. I'm in the underground. I move around. I was pushed off my off-grid land because of haters. I've lived in poverty. I suffer to make a few hundred a month in donations. I'm shadow banned. Yet I am an authentic truther who has told the truth about that day and many presidents. Yet I am artificially suppressed. And no one on the left helps me. No one supposedly against fascism helps me.
A variation of thermite.
And yet you act like you care so much about immigrants. How can you care so much about immigrants around the world if you can't even care about the people born in your own friggin' town that are half white, half Afghani, or whatever? If you can't even help the people that you care about, and on the right, why would you then support Trump for years when you ignored my warnings about China and Russia?
Slices right through. Same way here, by adding sulfur and potassium.
What has Trump done to help the homeless? Trump would likely put the homeless in a camp in the future. With his speech recently about a 5-minute city from the last year.
In the building, which of course implies directly an inside job. Someone had to have access into the building.
Then in mid-March of 2006, actor Charlie Sheen went public on my syndicated radio show and simply called for a new independent investigation and questioned the official story.
The other thing is Alex Jones has been very insulting to people that haven't gotten on the Trump train. So are his audience. His audience is really nasty. People that watch Alex are brainwashed.
Sheen preemptively challenged them.
If you got evidence to the opposite, prove it.
Something they still
Show me.
to do. Literally hundreds of vicious hit pieces.
I don't think Sheen got on board on the politics that Jones did.
Every old rumor was dredged
but did
up.
Alex Jones throw Sheen under the bus?
Raft of allegations was launched at him.
Alex Jones threw his audience under the bus. Alex Jones threw people like me under the bus that promoted him. Charlie Sheen gets a pass. other people get a pass for not being Trump tards. People like me and others were seen as lesser than for not wanting to give Alex Jones a rim job. Newsflash, folks, I'm not gay. That's gay shit. No offense to those of you that are gay that listen. That's gay shit. I'm not gay to get behind another man's ass and just repeat his ass talking points. That's asinine.
Genesis Communications Network. Alex joins me live from Austin, Texas to talk about Sheen's riveting comments. Alex, as I mentioned, the response that we got from you in the studio last night, absolutely shocking. So I want to know how it actually all came about. How did the interview with Charlie Sheen actually happen? Did you guys reach out to him? Did he call you? What was the deal?
Well, just to make something clear, Mr. Sheen has amazing courage to do.
I was in Portland, Oregon, Access TV when this was going live, and my friend there, who I knew at the time, recorded this, and we were going to play it on Access TV as a sign that America was waking up, and that my buddy Alex Jones, who I interviewed in 2005, was telling the truth about 9/11, and people were waking up. Now, the smoke is cleared. Is this still the same Alex Jones?
Take the blame for attacking the towers. So Mr. Sheen is only exceptional in that he...
And was all the effort that it gave to promote Alex Jones ever reciprocated from him to me? Has Alex Jones ever respected me and my independent mind and the things that I have come up with and investigated regarding the influence of the solar cycles over human wars and when the elite staged false flags? I was on Coast to Coast in 2019. Look at my interview and understand that I've accurately called things that are happening way more detailed than this dude, okay? And I'm telling you the truth. I'm artificially suppressed by the algorithm, and people like this are trusted when they backstab the 9/11 truth movement and send it into the ground purposely like a 747. Like a terror attack. Alex Jones committed a terror attack on the 9/11 truth movement. Quote me. That's a quote. He committed a terror attack on the 9/11 truth movement.
Then you look at the official story, the firefighters, the police, hundreds of them saying there were bombs in the buildings. They were told to shut up. You look at Building 7, detonators are going off. You can see the explosions.
And Alex, a lot of this is what Charlie Sheen was covering. I'm actually just curious, did he reach out to you guys? Is he the one who put the call into you?
Sure,
how he wound up on your show?
Sure, he called me a few weeks ago and said that he loves this country. He has nothing to gain from this. I mean, in fact, it's dangerous for him to do. But sure, I love this country and my kids so much.
There was another guy in the control room that day when we were recording this. He was a really feminine guy into yoga. He was doing a yoga pose. So he was having a spiritual experience hearing Alex Jones rant. He was doing just the whole yolly yo, you know, he was doing the whole whatever, you know?
Is a real investigation. I go further at Infowars.com and Prison Plan.
Oh, you go further.
How it happened, what took place. And it's not just Charlie Sheen. I've interviewed. CNN has interviewed some of these people, the only network that I've seen doing it. You guys have interviewed. There have been physics professors that have gone public. There have been the heads of mining colleges that have gone public. George Bush Sr.'s top CIA advisor who briefed him and briefed Ronald Reagan, one of the highest level guys at the CIA, says our government is clearly involved in carrying out terror to blame it on foreign enemies. Did you know that on CIA.gov, they admit that they carried out terror attacks in 1953 to blame it on Mohammad Mossadegh in Iran as a pretext to overthrow
Alex, I'm all good stuff and all stuff that needs to be talked about. But the question is why? Why have so many of the major media outlets not talked about these alternative theories that exist behind 9/11?
What else do you know, for those of you that know a few things, what else do you realize is happening here? I mean, do I need to really play the Jeopardy theme? Do we really have to do that? Do we really take a break? Do you need to go to the bathroom? CNN's fucking promoting Alex Jones, folks. That's what you need to be figuring out. Hello, put on your conspiracy goggles and make sure they're washed and clean and not full of a bunch of fecal matter. Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? CNN is promoting Alex Jones and the 9/11 message to send us in the direction of Alex Jones. This is not crazy, babblos, schizophrenic perceptions. This is reality, and girl, you know it's true.
They lied about the WMDs. They lied about everything.
And you lied about this, and you lied about that.
The new White House memo just came out where Bush was talking about staging the shoot down of American planes to blame it on Saddam. That's
two simple words. Fuck Russia for their invasion of Afghanistan and their murder of 3 million.
Do you agree with his assertion that there is a government cover-up of 9/11? Let's take a look at how the vote is going so far. 82% of you say yes. Only 18% of you say no.
Alex Jones says, "You are my enemy." The feeling is mutual.
Okay, because I know you're not my friend. I thought you were my friend. I thought you were my hero, my daddy. 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 Obama. Alex Jones. Obama. Trump. Obama. Obama. Trump. Obama. Obama. Trump. Trump. Alex Jones. Alex Jones. Obama. Trump.
It isn't about Charlie Sheen or Alex Jones or A.J. Hammer. Right. It's about NORAD standing down. It's about bombs in the buildings. It's about Pentagon documents saying they wanted to carry out these attacks and blame it on foreign enemies. This is all public. That's why all these physicists and politicians and people and congresswomen, ideas are...
You are not getting sleepier. You are waking up. You are waking up to the truth.
In the last 100 years, Western governments doing this. Hitler does it. The British do it. The Russians did it. Governments do this. And I'm not saying the whole government. Very small criminal black world is what they're called. Operators are carrying this out. That's the fact. Please go investigate it, ladies and gentlemen. You will discover the truth. Look at America. It's turning into a police state.
Look at America. It's turning into a police state. Look at America. It's turning into a police state. One more time. Look at America. It's becoming a police state. There we go.
Threw down the gauntlet.
Don't blame me. Blame the old Alex Jones. Don't blame me. Blame this. It's like that drug commercial from the 80s when the kid is caught by his dad. Where'd you learn this? Where'd you get these drugs? I learned it from watching you. I learned it from watching you.
Please welcome the indestructible Charlie Sheen. Happy almost Easter.
Hey, back at you. Thank you.
You had some interesting comments. You were on a radio show and you talked about 9/11, and you have is it a theory or you just don't believe the government account of what happened on 9/11?
I just had questions.
Yeah.
I had a lot of questions, and the forum I chose to voice those questions in is the Alex Jones radio show, and just because he's a guy that I've been a fan of and followed for a lot of years, and I got attacked, and there are a lot of hit pieces. The reaction was
people get very mad when celebrities have opinions.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. He's not qualified. He doesn't. He's just who the hell is he to have an opinion about something so horrible? And it was sad because they didn't really take a look at any of the stuff I was asking them to look at.
Too bad. I like his 80s movies, the older movies from Charlie Sheen, but this is sad.
He's another tinfoil hat wearing Hollywood clown. It's like the only. I felt that the only real validation I needed was just being a tax-paying American that loves my country.
Yeah, and it's just something that you wonder about, and you would like to know more about. Sure. I assume. And did you study the tapes?
I've done a lot of research, and it's not just me; it's the people that have come before me, the experts and the engineers and the physicists and the scientists and the scholars that raised a lot of these things, and I took a look at their research.
Yeah, I'm trying to be comical, folks, a little lighthearted today, but we're reviewing this before whatever might happen. Okay, so if you'll remember one thing today,
5 friends from the Pentagon.
We're reviewing Alex's past claims of false flags blamed on convenient enemies.
What happened to a time in this country when we were
as this year starts, 2024.
Given right to be curious about things that didn't.
So I just want to make sure we're clear on this. If you like Alex and Trump, then you should be down with this.
Stuff like this is like, oh boy, we could yell about this for an entire week.
At that same library was all pro-Trump documentaries.
That's true. Yeah, I should have conferred with him before I came out public.
And then this.
Weeks of Charlie Sheen throwing down the gauntlet on national television. The federal government released 2 new videos, almost identical.
So explain to me how this is consistent with MAGA.
By the Pentagon.
2024.
About why the Pentagon could be attacked.
How does 9/11 truth equate to ban the Muslims?
We've got to look at the.
How does ban the Muslims equal 9/11 was an inside job? Send the essay to SolarStorm333 at proton.me. How does ban the Muslims and white nationalism marry well with 9/11 truth like a good wine and steak? From Ringside or Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, though that's not good steak. Ringside maybe.
77, crashing into the Pentagon on September 11th.
Well, that's a question.
Show me Trump discuss this
that is where
on
that
Truth
airplane
Social.
crashed. Well, I would have thought that over.
Not
the
only
years that
was Alex Jones
question, but
instrumental
some folks had a question about
in
that.
getting Trump into power,
Question is now once
Alex
and
was
for all
instrumental on
answered.
January
Since the
6th.
first days
Alex
of
was
9/11,
instrumental in the
established
groups
press has
that
only
became
focused on the Pentagon complex
Trump worshippers, from the
and not
Oath Keepers to
hundreds of
others.
other smoking guns
Alex
and serious
Jones.
questions that have been raised. We have to ask ourselves why. As if it was by design.
He knows
flames
what the truth
only
is.
intensified the debate. No passenger plane.
He knows this is the history.
In the still frames. They're more than happy to endlessly focus on the Pentagon, but they won't touch Building 7.
But some people are just straight up crazy. I remember one woman that I made out with years ago at some bar was a 9/11 truther, wore this shirt all the time, even to her job at the state of Oregon, then turned around and voted for Obama. Wrap your mind around that. She was so hot for Obama, she thought Obama was a part of the truth movement about 9/11, not being committed by the convenient enemy. Okay? Obama folks don't want 9/11 truth. Never did, never
The
will.
World Trade Center complex admitting on tape that he ordered the building demolished on the afternoon of 9/11.
I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
9/11 was just one salvo in an ongoing war against the free peoples of the planet.
Alex Jones
terror
highlighted the police state, the RNC, in 2004. Watch him later on support the RNC, though.
That 90% of their battle plans are psychological versus physical. The information war has taken the place of aircraft carriers, fighter bombers, and Abrams M1A tanks. And you, the population of the planet, are the target. Put simply, modern warfare is all about selling the population to love its own enslavement. The elite are waging war on the people. Edward L. Bernays is regarded by many as the father of public relations. He was born in Vienna, Austria. Bernays was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Bernays pioneered the use of psychology and other social sciences to design public persuasion campaigns. He published several scholarly works still used in universities worldwide today. On page 71 of his book Propaganda, Bernays wrote, "If we understand the mechanisms and motives of the group mind, is it not possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without their knowing about it?" Bernays literally wrote the book on modern propaganda. His clients included Procter & Gamble, CBS Television, the United Fruit Company, the American Tobacco Company, General Electric, Dodge Motors, and he also spearheaded the national campaign to fluoridate the water supply of America through the fluoridationist of the Public Health Service. He was hired by multiple presidents to engage in propaganda campaigns against the American people, as well as the U.S. Army. Another quote from his book, Propaganda: "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible
However,
which is the true ruling power of our government."
The right wing and Alex Jones and Trump were part of a disinformation campaign in 2015, 2016 to demonize all the Syrian refugees as ISIS. That means so-called Christians repeated their talking points, bared false witness in the name of Jesus Christ. They bared false witness in the name of Jesus Christ. They think they're Christians. So many think they're Christians. They lied about innocent immigrants, and they refuse to repent. They refuse to repent.
Edward Bernays advanced the science of propaganda light years. But more than 60 years after his heyday, the science of mind control is thousands of times more sophisticated than even Bernays had envisioned. Since the dawn of man, bullies have attempted to dominate and control the tribe. Human history has been one long struggle of the independent free human against organized crime syndicates attempting to enslave him. Brute force has been replaced with intimidation and propaganda. We are manipulated into enslaving ourselves. We are conned into believing that the establishment is our loving keeper and not our parasitic master. The New World Order architects are a group of predatory control freaks who have enslaved humanity and are desperate to keep control of their cattle. The elite is threatened by independent free humans who control their own destinies. They're threatened by intelligence, by beauty, by honor, by family,
by other races.
They seek to control and steer the destiny of humanity in a direction
by other thinkers and philosophers
forever. They are sadistic. They are callous. They think nothing of human life.
They think nothing of demonizing innocent refugees as terrorists, so that people will harm them and send them back to lands to be bombed, acting like they care when they don't care. When the man speaking to you do now has pledged his life against this demonic system, and either you're going to support me or you're going to support him. You have a choice to make.
And start fighting back. Once you understand their game plan, it's very easy to defeat. Knowing who your enemy is half the battle. Taking action is the other half. You only have to free your mind, and defeating the globalist will be easy.
Just to be frank with you, that was highly upsetting to sit through 2 hours. Part of me wishes this didn't even freaking happen. What am I supposed to do with this video file? Put it on YouTube? YouTube? Oh man. It might be bad for my channel. Alex Jones. You are my enemy. You could say that again. People think this guy's the shit. Not so superior. White nationalists and others. Not so superior when he's told you many falsehoods. Many people are considered inferior around the world, and in some cases call things right. It's subconscious. People might not think that they're racist, but by constantly being told, this group's the enemy, that group's the enemy, this group's inferior, this group's this group's that. Like, literally, they're trying to get the whole world to, like, kill a bunch of Muslims. Oh, if we kill the Muslims and put them in camps and ignore the false flags, maybe we'll get 144,000 virgins. They're going to get the 72 virgins. We're going to get the 144 virgins. You know, I remember years ago, you know, even sending him a videotape, you know, and reaching out to him, and then meeting him in 2004, 2005. That's right, in September. And just feeling that he was really uncomfortable around me even then, and really knowing why, if he thought it was part Arabic or Middle Eastern, that he really did seem to squirm in that interview. It was pretty fast. And like I said, you know, I've interviewed him twice, but I never really met the guy. It would always have been interesting to have met him and have introduced to him and Adam Kokesh and others who I've interviewed, but I've never really had a conversation with, nor a beer, nor sparred with, or done any manly things or hiking things with. These men have never been my friend, and I have given everything to them, you know, including Adam Kokesh. I promoted him back in the day, not greatly, because I saw through him early on. That's another story. I'm not a big fan of veterans that torture. If a veteran wants to repent, and really, I'm upset with those that have been duped into these previous wars, those that haven't repented, and those that have extreme anger towards these innocent people who didn't do shit to them on 9/11, right? Alex Jones made documentaries about 9/11. Those documentaries woke me up. That wake-up process led to me starting my own TV show. That led to me having the same guests Alex had, from Joel Skousen to David Icke, go down the line. David Ray Griffin, Bob Bowman, Jim Mars, Tex Mars, Freeman, George Humphreys. Okay? When I was on the air in Portland, Oregon, I interviewed a shitload of people. How did I make my money? I bust fucking tables for 5 years. I became homeless when they fired me. Do you think that they were okay with my show? Talking about 9/11 all the fucking time? And then people coming in that Ruth Chris Steakhouse restaurant and recognizing me? That was a Republican-leaning restaurant. It's amazing I even worked there 5 years to begin with. They got rid of me. Eventually, Portland got rid of me. Then Portland ended up with Clyde Lewis on the air. Clyde Lewis said Alex Jones was white trash when Alex Jones in 2010 recognized me confronting Antifa, exposing Antifa, then called the Black Bloc. I called them cops and said they had controllers. because they were acting like they had controllers. I was attacked for my speculation. And I felt for many years that Clyde played a role in turning aspects of Portland against me by having me on his show and giving a lot of airtime to certain Antifa members that would later be seen on CNN destroying Portland, Oregon. So fast forward to 2018, Alex Jones and Clyde Lewis are now talking. And, well, Clyde called Alex Jones white trash now that Alex Jones shifted towards the dark side and is demonizing all these people and is in with Trump. Then comes Clyde, who supposedly is awake himself and shows that he's not really awake. Former friend of Alex Ansary, hung out with him, even bought him dinner a few times. Hung out with him enough to hear him say some dirty sexual jokes about some female friends that I knew at the time. Talking about a woman by the name of Laura, who was a friend of mine, and the way that she drank that bottle of beer, talking about her like she's deliberately drinking a bottle of beer with her tongue out like she's giving a blowjob. Not saying he's lying. That was a strange girl to begin with, but I thought it was inappropriate. Point is, me and Clyde know each other. And there's no reason for Clyde not to recognize the good work that I've done, and for him to go in the direction of Alex Jones when Alex Jones has become evil, less truthful than he was, because he was more truthful then. But I always think there was an agenda behind Alex Jones. So there's a lot of people that listen to Alex Jones now and are on his show now that weren't really there and connected with him in the past when he was raging against the machine. Okay, so there's a lot of people out there that are totally down with the current Bandot video, with how he portrays things, and just blaming everything on the left. And if you don't agree with him, you're deep state or the left, and just these false conspiracy theories about all these white women loving Muslims and things of that nature. Folks, you need to understand, a lot of the stuff is highly exaggerated and highly inflammatory towards your own white people. So oftentimes, and this goes for a lot of you on the left and the right, a lot of you point the finger at immigrants. That includes people on the left, actually, too. You do a lot of damage to yourselves as white people to yourselves. Okay, there's a lot of really serious ways in which people attack other white people, in which white people attack white people, and then they label other people anti-white. If you don't get on board a right-wing agenda right now in America, you're considered subhuman. You're considered like the enemy of America. You're considered to be the conspiracy itself when they're the ones catapulting the conspiracy. So in the end, we're really dealing with spiritual warfare. And if we really want to understand the top of the pyramid, what's going on with these deceptions coming from Jones, Trump, Biden, the other side, there's Biden throwing his supporters under the bridge. There's Biden being a true white supremacist, like I predicted, right? There he is, not even recognizing the dead people in Gaza, the Palestinians, only counting the Israeli soldiers. In your face, America, Biden is a Nazi. So this denial about Nazism on both sides is juvenile. America, you need to wake up. You need a life coach. You need a teacher. If you're going to bodybuild, if you're going to pump iron, this is for those of you self-described men out there. You hear screaming in the gym. You don't hear kind little words about this, that, and the other. It's get it done. Stop being a fucking pussy. Same thing for those of you doing the political worship. Stop being a fucking pussy. Go work out. Go work out your brain. Read some books. Educate yourself. Thank you for watching.